Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast. And today I'm with Amber Wilfahrt. She is owner of the Raw Mom Life, and she helps you share the blessings and the heart of day-to-day mom life, helping you feel less isolated and creating some habits that stick that are going to help you get through it all. So, hey, Amber, so great to see you today.
Thanks for having me, Daniela.
So if you can share a little bit more about yourself, personally, professionally, so my listeners can get to know you a little bit.
For sure. So I am in Minnesota, born and bred, and super excited that spring is finally here. I'm a mom to 3 girls. They are almost 11, 9, and almost 7. And I was in direct sales for 12 years. And at the end of 2020, my company closed. And it was one of those things where it was just absolutely devastating, but also looking back, one of the greatest things that happened, that God closed that door for me. Because it's allowed me to transition, and I've been coaching women for a couple of years now. And I started by coaching women in direct sales, but this past summer I shifted and I'm doing some coaching for women mamas who just need to take care of themselves, to build those habits, to kind of just find that joy in everyday life, whether that means, really honing in on the self-care. It might be their nutrition, or it might be their business, or it might be their marriage. There's different pillars within my program, but ultimately my true passion is to just let moms know they're not alone in all of the junk, the crap that they are going through, all of the hard and all of the blessings. And so that's why on Instagram, you'll find me as Raw Mom Life, because I'm not afraid to sit on my kitchen floor and cry over donut holes in my stories. Was actually a thing I did one time. And then just sharing the good stuff too. Right now in my stories, I have, at the time of this recording anyway, I have some stuff about my oldest playing her violin and just listening to her. And I just love listening to my kids play music. And so letting moms know that they're not alone in all of that, and that we are more than mom. We are still human. And we need to take care of our needs first in order to be a better mom and wife and person. So that's my ultimate passion. And that's what you'll find a lot over on Instagram.
I love it. And I know that's exactly how we connected, because we do share so many of the same themes and messages. And I think being able to recognize sometimes that when things happen that we didn't plan or want to happen is such a gift, and such a way of like the universe kind of telling us, this is the direction you're going in. And if you're not going to make that choice on your own, I am going to make it happen. I think that's the thing sometimes with so many other day-to-day things, we don't take that choice to prioritize what we really need. And that's where we probably get stuck. And I know that joy you talk about from just hearing your kids, we don't always appreciate and take that time to really focus on that.
For sure. Yeah. And this morning I woke up and I don't know, I was not super crabby, but just not super joyful. And so my kids came downstairs, and right away I was like annoyed. They were like all in my ear telling me all of the things, and I just wanted to continue my quiet time without them. And so I knew that I had to really hone in on my self-care today. And so I made sure to get my workout in. I turned on some music that I could jam to in the shower. Just those little things of, looking in the mirror and complimenting myself can really make a difference. Or just forcing laughter sometimes with your kids can really, really change your mood and the mood in the whole household too. So just knowing that importance of taking care of yourself in the small things. And that's what I teach with habits is that number one, it is a myth that habits are formed in 21 days. It takes at least 21 days and sometimes months, like 6 months to develop those habits, depending on your lifestyle and your intention and, how hard you really focus in on that habit. But to really focus on those small things, 1% better every day. And so if that means today you laugh a little bit more, or you drink an extra glass of water, it's not about going into the kitchen and changing the entire way you eat. It's about one snack. It's about one little decision. And over time that builds up. And then you really find that some of those habits are habits where you don't have to think about them anymore. And it happens. You drink enough water, you make healthy choices, you move your body, do little things like complimenting yourself, not self-care isn't about bubble baths, right? Like how cliche, right?
I say that all the time.
Yes. It's not about bubble baths with a glass of wine or going to get a massage. Self-care doesn't have to be big, expensive things. In fact, those small things really make a big difference over time.
Absolutely. I think it's, for those days, I call it meh. Like I wake up kind of meh some days,
exactly.
Because it's not necessarily a bad mood, but it's enough of an edge that those things that you've automated into your day that you don't have to think about, where you can get those ingrained underlying subconscious benefits without having to think about them, that can start to move the needle. Because that's what it is. It's not big shifts, like you said. It is those little nudges, those little moves. And sometimes, we go back and forth a couple times throughout the day, but it's about gradually moving it throughout the day with that consistency where, like you said, you see those biggest changes. And I definitely embrace that too, where you do start to automate drinking the water, fitting in movement, the way you eat, the way you maybe smile at yourself in the mirror. I know Mel Robbins always talks about the high five and all those little shifts that can, even if you're laughing at yourself doing it, that laughter releases endorphins and creates that physiological change that helps you feel better.
Exactly. I'm not sure when this podcast episode's coming out, but I'm currently in the process of creating a self-care challenge for moms. And it's going to be things that they can do without adding to their to-do list, because it is those small things that, man, they just make such a difference. And I think too, thinking about a lot of times self-care equals mom guilt. And when you're just doing those small things, it's like practice doing the small things. So you don't have this like huge guilt factor of you never leave. And then one night you have a girls' night out and you feel absolutely terrible. But if you're practicing those small things at home, like I'm going to fit in 20 minutes of yoga, or I'm going to just stand outside for 5 minutes by myself and get some fresh air. I'm going to shower with the door locked so nobody can interrupt. Those little things at home can help you build just confidence in knowing that you need to take care of yourself. And it helps to shift so that you don't feel guilty about doing those things too.
Right. They help you change that expectation you have in your head about what the experience is going to be, which allows you to then feel differently. So that is awesome. We'll definitely make sure that the challenge information is all in the show notes with the dates and the links to join up, because I definitely want to make sure you get the opportunity to do this, because I think that's awesome to have that support and that accountability, because that's how we help start some of it. It's easy, to make a plan, but that following through, sometimes we need that little bit of a nudge, those reminders, just to kind of build on that on an everyday thing. So I'm so excited to hear more about that and be able to share that with my listeners.
Yeah. And it's going to be a little bit different than like a typical challenge where I'm going to have set dates for it. Anytime that you join my list, the next 7 days, you'll get little tasks to do. And at the end of those 7 days, I'm going to give you a full list of 30 things that you can think about doing and incorporating into your day. So I say I'm in the process of it because I'm still writing those emails, but once I do, anybody can get those anytime. So whether this episode comes out tomorrow or in 3 months, I will have a way for you to get a hold of that as well.
That's awesome, because that's the other thing is sometimes the timing of things. So to be able to do it in your own time when it works best is going to make it the most attainable. So I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, another thing with self-care is that like, I'm going to give you these ideas, and I know Danielle gives you ideas, and well, pretty much, tons of people, when you go on Instagram, give you ideas of how to do self-care. But the reality is that what works for me doesn't work for you all the time, or what works for Daniela might not work for you today. It might work tomorrow. You have to find things that work for you. For me, my workout is non-negotiable. Like that is something that I have to have for both my mental and physical health. But there are just things that work for me that you might not love doing HIIT cardio like I do, but you like going for walks with friends. You've got to find those things that really hit home for you and fill up your cup. So the point is to give you ideas of what to do and to try new things, and then find the things that really, truly work for you, not just for me.
Absolutely. And to allow that grace of it might look different every day. Some days I do 10 minutes of yoga. Some days I do a 45-minute walk, and it is going to be different on each day of what each person can do. And I think allowing that freedom is what, again, makes it attainable on a day-to-day, because people think, well, I can't fit in a half hour. I don't have time to go to the gym. There's so many ways it can look for each person that's going to make it so successful.
Absolutely.
So what would you say are the things that motivate you?
Well, if I'm being honest, I think motivation is garbage.
Okay. Awesome. No, I think that's good. Everyone has their thoughts on it.
I think, motivation just doesn't last. Mm-hmm. So if you need motivation to get started, fine. But motivation won't build those habits for you. It's going to be consistency and accountability. So, personally, what motivates me is that, it depends on what we're talking about. Like if it's self-care, a lot of that for me in the winter is that I deal with seasonal depression. And if I don't do self-care, I'm not in a good place. And so that's a huge motivator for me. But just on an everyday to-day basis, I know that I'm in a better mood if I work out. I know that I have ulcerative colitis as well. And so that motivates me to drink enough water and take my meds and eat healthy for the most part. I still really love my donuts and my sweets and whatever.
You gotta have the grace. You got to have, that ability to do that.
Yep, exactly. So there are different things that motivate me, and to be an example for my kids, I've got 3 girls and they might be moms someday. Either way, they're going to be adults someday who lead busy lives. And I want to set that example for them now that no, mom takes care of herself, so that they grow up not feeling guilty about wanting to take care of themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So what would you say people think you kind of have, quote, together, but you really don't? Because I think sometimes on social media, people get like this view of us. They think that, we're a certain way, but we're really all just people. So just to kind of share that peek behind the curtain.
Sure. Well, I would say probably like my health. Like if you look at me, I look healthy, and I'm the healthiest I feel the most fit and just feel the most confident I've ever felt in my life. Funny enough, I'm the most unhealthy I've ever been in my life, just because I have ulcerative colitis and seasonal depression and thyroid disease, and I deal with migraines. But you wouldn't know all of that from looking at me. You wouldn't. And I do share that on social media. I love donuts, people know that about me.
You're going to start getting shipments of donuts now from people. You got to try these.
I would not complain at all. But first glance, you think well, she has it easy, but that's not true. I work to keep myself healthy, and I put in the time. And so I don't know. I think that would be the one thing that I think I've been kind of judged on my whole life, is I've always been the skinny girl. And so it always comes easy for her, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. People don't see the behind the scenes kind of consistency and effort and things you do to maintain that. And so I like the fact that, by talking about it, we can start to break down some of those judgments and barriers, and just be vulnerable about the fact that you do have to stick to certain routines, or else it doesn't work. And you don't look like this then, you don't get to be healthy and smiling and upright and all of that kind of stuff.
And even more so, loving the body that I'm in. It is not the same body now than before I had kids, right? Like I've got loose skin and I've got stretch marks and cellulite, and it took me a long time to learn to love the body that I am in. And part of that was moving my body and, making healthier choices in the kitchen, and the mental game of not looking in the mirror and criticizing myself. That is like my biggest form of self-care, is just loving the body that I'm in, both physically and mentally, because if you don't, I think everything else feels harder.
Yeah.
You feel more self-conscious of trying to chase after your dreams or trying something new in the community. There's so many things that you can take on more easily, more powerfully, if you love the body that you're in, right?
Yeah. I think we're our worst inner critics. We are,
For sure.
our harshest judge. We would never speak to other people the way we talk to ourselves. And so that mental part, being able to catch ourselves, because I don't even want to pretend like we're not still going to say some of those things like I do all the time, but it's the catching of ourselves and correcting that then make the difference in how we choose to act based on it.
Yep. With mom guilt and with those kinds of like negative thoughts about myself, so crucial to just stop those thoughts. I was in the shower earlier this week. My kids were at school. We just kind of had a rough morning. Like each kid was frustrating in a different way.
They do that, don't they?
Oh, they do. And the one, she's so sweet. I love her to death, but she always waits till last minute to go to the bathroom. And we like are literally going out the door and she's like, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, why are you waiting till last minute? And I kind of snapped on her a little bit. And then I'm in the shower and I just was thinking about those things, how the morning started, and starting to feel those feelings of guilt arise. And I just felt really like bummed. And I was in the shower and I said, Amber, practice what you preach. And I stopped the thought. And then I started speaking to myself with love about like why I'm a good mom. And then later I apologized to her about snapping at her. And I mean, the mood change was completely different, and stopping those thoughts of those negative thoughts, no matter what they are, whether it's about your body or whether it's about mom guilt or whatever. It is a game changer when you can consciously say, I am not thinking about that. And Mel Robbins talks about that in her book, The High Five Habit. Stop the thought.
Yeah.
And then change the thought to be something better, something of love.
Well, and I love the fact that it's not even just change the thought, but allow that change to dictate what you do after that, because I don't think the expectation is we have to be perfect moms and never yell at our kids and never snap, because that's not being human. That's being like robotic, but being able to take that moment and then talk about it in a way like, I was frustrated. I needed this. This is what, we have to work together as a team going forward. I'd always try to explain it like, it can't just be isolated individuals trying to like get out the house at the same time. Like we're a team. We need to support each other. This is what you need from me. Great. This is what I need from you. And how we can then apologize and let our kids see that or perfection's not the goal, imperfection's the reality, and working through that is how we're going to just get through life.
Exactly. And then our kids learn from that example. They, especially my middle, that one that I blew up at, like she is very much a perfectionist and hard on herself when she's not the best or whatever. And so by example, I'm trying to teach her that, no, mommy's not perfect. I make mistakes all the time and it's okay. We apologize. We do what we need to do to be able to move forward from that. So,
right. Because like you said, when we model for our kids, if we expect that we have to be perfect in our relationships, when they go into relationships later in life, they're going to think that's the same thing. And then either they're not going to find happiness or they're going to set this unrealistic standard that's not going to be sustainable.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I always incorporate as part of self-care is gratitude, because it's like we can't change necessarily everything happening around us, but we can choose what to put the spotlight on and what we choose to focus on and really lean into, because that's where we're going to find our happiness. And so what would you say are kind of the 3 things that you're the most grateful for?
That's another thing that we just relate on so much. Like you probably can see in my Instagram bio, it says I'm living on gratitude and coffee. It's those hard moments where you just really focus on gratitude and it changes your attitude. It really does. And every morning in my prayer journal, I write 5 things I'm grateful for, 5 prayers, and then 5 dreams, 5-ish dreams that I have for my future. And so, yeah, constantly living on gratitude, but it's not always the big things like a house to live in, my family. It's sleeping in a little bit today, having hot coffee, working out harder than I thought I was going to, sweating more than I thought I was going to. The sun is shining today. And as much as I'm glad that this winter is moving on out, this morning, it's like, I don't know, it's probably like upper 30s here, but the frost on the trees this morning, just absolutely stunning. Right before we started recording, I went out and took a picture of my backyard of my trees, and I just keep looking out there because it's just a stunning view. So finding those little things to be grateful for are just, it's innate in me anymore. It's so crucial to my day.
Yeah, no, because those are the things you can really capture on a moment by moment, day by day basis. So I think that is so important as part of being mindful and really present in noticing all those little things that we take for granted. And then we focus on the one bad thing that happens over and over again. So no, I love that we're so aligned in all these things. And I definitely can see us collaborating and talking together more in the future. Amber, I know I'm going to be chatting on your podcast as well. So I'm so excited we've gotten the chance to meet and connect, and that you guys got to meet Amber, and hopefully you're going to sign up for that challenge, get on her email list, because I think just hearing these things from multiple sources is what's going to make it kind of become routine, become that, Oscar Mayer Baloney slogan that you just remember even without thinking about it. It's when you automate these things and they just happen on repeat is how you're going to be the most successful and the most happy in your day-to-day life. And I know that's what Amber and I just want for everybody. So thank you so much, Amber, for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
And like I said, you'll catch all her information in the show notes. So
thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.